Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to point out each and every day, it expands our base. I open this morning with a simple question. Does truth matter? Jack Smith has completed his report, and last night at midnight Washington time, 9 o'clock San Francisco time, the report was issued. Now, I've not read the report. I've only read the summaries and the news stories, but it makes absolutely clear Donald Trump's culpability in the attempt to obstruct the election of 2020. Now, here's the question for me. Is it true? And I think that is what has to be looked at carefully. Coupled with the January 6th report, it appears to me that Donald Trump is about to assume the presidency of the United States with a huge cloud of history hanging over him. Now, the question becomes, should that matter? And the answer is, it will not matter after January 20th, when Donald Trump takes the oath of office. He will be president of the United States, and our discussions should focus on what he does as president. But should that cloud of history be ignored? And the answer is no, nor will it be. For the questions raised by Jack Smith and by the January 6th report will resonate through history. That, to me, is what is absolutely essential. We need to understand that we have a convicted felon about to enter the White House. And we need to understand that there are reports by creditable people and sources which imply and which state and which clearly define areas in which Donald Trump failed us. These are matters of historic record. It does not diminish the fact that next Monday, Donald J. Trump will become president of the United States for the second time. It is simply a fact of history that needs to be considered. By the way, we do that with all of our presidents. I'm teaching a course at the moment on the American presidency, and in constructing that class, I have made clear that we are going to examine controversial issues raised by Donald Trump in the context of his predecessors and their stands, whether it's the Panama Canal or Greenland or Canada, whatever the case may be. That is putting historical perspective on contemporary events. We'll see how it all washes out. I will be watching today and listening today to the reaction to Jack Smith's report from Democrats, from Republicans, but most important of all, from you. And Pete Hegseth is now about to testify before a committee of the United States Senate to confirm his nomination for Secretary of Defense. It is a controversial nomination because, well, accusations have been made. And one of the things we need to find out is, did the FBI do a thorough background investigation? There are charges being made now that they did not interview key witnesses. Why? There's another question about Hegseth, but it reminds me of another hearing for a candidate for Secretary of Defense. His name was John Tower, and he was nominated by George H.W. Bush for the position of Secretary of Defense. Now, Tower had been chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and yes, over the years I had met him on a number of occasions. Those of us who knew him or spent time with him knew that he had a drinking problem and, yes, a ladies' problem. But the question of his competence to be Secretary of Defense, well, that was a whole other question. In the end, the accusations against John Tower and his colleagues made the judgment based on their own observation, compelled Tower to withdraw as a nominee for Secretary of Defense. He continued to serve in the United States Senate until his tragic death. But I say this to you because I want you to understand the argument made against John Tower was that he, as a candidate for Secretary of Defense had to be pure as the driven snow. And of course, John Tower was not. Is Pete Hegseth ready, able, willing, and will the cloud that hangs over him diminish his ability to continue his service? It's a good question, and one that I think needs to be answered. And the other great question, of course, is the battle going on now between Republicans and those who speak for the right and the people of Los Angeles. The argument is being made that Mayor Bass and others in Los Angeles failed the people of Los Angeles, and as a result, this huge disaster has hit. Well, it depends on your perspective. If you listen to the right of center, you will hear great criticism, and I listened to several programs last night which indicated this great debate. I want to simply make my position clear. In a disaster, you blame everyone, right? Because, well, you didn't want the disaster to happen, but it did, and were you ready, and were you equipped to handle it? The point that I will make now is the truth does matter. And the truth is that nobody in Los Angeles could have controlled or imagined the inferno which has engulfed that great second largest city in the United States of America. The simple truth is, if everything had been in place, nothing could have stopped this disaster from taking place. It's time not to hurl accusations and blame. It is time to come together and help the people of Los Angeles. Those of us with family and friends who live in Los Angeles understand clearly the nature of this disaster is so vast, so huge, it is almost incomprehensible. I say this as somebody who lived in Los Angeles and worked in Los Angeles for a period of time, and I can relate in every way to the anger. But let's be careful. Let's first save what we can of Los Angeles itself. The destruction there is horrific. Let's work on reconstruction ideas. And I was remarking to someone, not in my lifetime will we see Los Angeles reconstructed. Well, that's what happens in a natural disaster. And you know what? This is just the beginning. The fires are not over. And now is not the time to hurl accusations and make political statements. For the Speaker of the House of Representatives to indicate that he thinks there should be strings attached to aid to Los Angeles at this moment, unconscionable. We're going to be watching this and talking about it more in the days ahead. The important thing now is to do everything we can to help Los Angeles to recover. The people of Los Angeles deserve our support. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. You can, of course, interact with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you can email me. And most important of all, I want to thank Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast. And thanks, Gogo. Around the Political World with John Rothman will be back tomorrow. And no doubt, there will be a lot to talk about. See you then.